Hi everyone and welcome to this week's video. So sometime in late 2019 you sat down, you planned your 2020 season, you were ready, you were excited, you were motivated, you put in the work, you got up early on those dark winter nights, training, preparing, and then all of a sudden global virus comes along and seems to sweep the season away, and that can be difficult to take. So today we're going to look at 6 simple ways that you can increase your motivation, get yourself up and positive and ready to train and prepare for whatever your event is, so that when it does come around you are in the best possible shape to enjoy the experience as much as possible. Now I think it's really important to acknowledge that at the moment there's a huge amount of sadness and suffering in the world around us, both from the virus and from all of the other bad stuff that just happens in our world every day. But there isn't a finite amount of sadness or suffering, so just because there are too many other people struggling and suffering and down about awful tragedy in their lives, that doesn't mean that you can't also feel down, unmotivated and saddened by the loss of an event that you might have put months, maybe even years of work into preparing for. So you can allow yourself to feel that emotion. Don't feel guilty about it or make it bigger than it is, but do know that there are things that you can do to feel more positive. So let's go through our 6 tips right now. Here we go. So number 1 is to reframe how you think about that event that has been moved. So I see the word cancelled used a lot, but just think of it differently. Don't think of it as being cancelled. Think of it as being postponed. It might have been postponed by a few weeks, a few months, or even well into next year, maybe more than 12 months in advance. But if there's one thing that we know about this life, time moves quickly and it will come around sooner than you think. And so if you can think about the event being postponed, still going to happen. Time will move fast, it'll come around soon. And then that puts everything in a bit more of a positive place. Now, maybe you're someone who was preparing for a very specific event that has been cancelled. That specific event isn't going to happen anymore. But I'd still urge you to think of it as being postponed, because whatever you were trying to achieve in that event, or whatever you were trying to get out of or target in that event, will come around in a different guise, and again sooner rather than later. So whatever it was you were striving for will come. It's just been postponed. It hasn't been cancelled. Hopefully that sets up the whole kind of approach a little bit more positively. Tip number 2 is that obviously the movement of some of our events gives us loads more time to prepare. So use that time well. Have a little think. What are your strengths? What can you now enhance that are already strengths for you? And what are your weaknesses? What can you now spend more time on so that you're a more rounded athlete when it comes to the event that you're targeting? If you can think like that, then it starts to present this delay as more of an opportunity. I heard from a swim coach recently who was expecting a lot of his athletes to be able to do 2 years of strength and conditioning work in this time. So yeah, they're not swimming, but they're going to get back in with deeper foundations of high level conditioning that are going to ultimately allow them to swim faster than they've ever done before. So how can you utilize the extra time that you've now got? Do that, and then suddenly the thing feels like an opportunity rather than a delay or something inhibiting your goals and challenges. Number 3, with more time, there's less pressure. Now, we love what we do, but our challenges can push us and stress us and add pressure. And pressure can sometimes mean that we don't love our sport as much as we should do. So how can we get back to just loving it? Maybe do just some of the training that you enjoy the most. Try some different training, do some different stuff. You've got time, you don't have to stay in race shape the whole time. Step back, take a bit of pressure off. Enjoy not having that pressure and find the love for what you do again if that's been waning a little bit with the pressure of expectation of an upcoming competition. And don't worry too much about getting every single little bit of training absolutely right. So, number 4 is to focus on process. Now, your ultimate race goal might have just jumped 12 months into the future from where you were thinking that it was going to be. And that's a really long time. Now, an athlete's superpower is that they can focus on that long-term goal, like way in advance for a really long time, but it's still quite hard. And if it has just suddenly jumped from next month to next year, don't focus on that. Focus on process. Just get now right. Just get each step of the journey right, and ultimately you'll end up where you want to be. And if you can focus on each little bit and getting each element right, then you'll probably be at least as well prepared as you possibly can be by the time that eventually comes around. So don't focus on the ultimate goal if it suddenly moved really far into the distance. Just focus on today. Just get today right. Today's session, today's set, today's rep. Keep doing that, and eventually you'll be ready. So, number 5, be kind to yourself. I've seen a lot of athletes struggle and get down about the postponement of their races. But how would it be if this was someone you love or a best friend who was going through a similar experience? What would you say to them? And say that to yourself. You know, don't paint that negative narrative that we often can do in our own minds, but instead give yourself a more positive approach. Write a more positive story about this in exactly the same way you would if you were trying to encourage a family member, another loved one, or a friend who was going through something similar. What would you tell them? Tell that to yourself. And finally, we've got number 6. You have the power. So again, I see a lot of athletes kind of think, well, I've done so much. Yeah, how can I do it again? Well, you can do it again because you did it before. You know, don't forget that anything that you've achieved in the past, you did. You can do it. So don't worry about what might come in the future and whether you can pull yourself through those early mornings and that long amount of preparation or whatever it is that you feel you need to do to prepare for your event. I know you can do it because you already did. And if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, yeah, but I didn't do a very good job of preparing, well, then I'll take you back to point number 2. This is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to get it right. It's an opportunity to get it even better than you did do before. So either way, if it went well, you did it. You have the power. If previous preparation didn't go so well, you've got an opportunity to make it even better this time. And again, that frames this whole thing in a much more positive way. So, thanks very much for watching the video. I hope those 6 points have been really, really helpful for you. Please remember to like and subscribe. It helps other people find content, so if you found this useful, please do remember to do those things, and hopefully other people might find it useful as well. We'll be back very soon with another video, but for now, thanks for watching and see you soon. Bye-bye.